Hi there, welcome into my channel. This is Laurel with the Curated Caravan, and I actually thought this was going to be an easy thing to do just do a voiceover of some things, but I've spent a couple of days on this now, so we'll see how it goes. So I wanted to take a look at my top sales from December, and then we're going to finish up with some of the style aesthetics that I've been working on, and I think I've got about 10 of them to give you some examples of stuff to look for 2025, so we can get ahead of the game for this year. So first we're going to start off, we're going to take a look at my top sales for December. So my best sale of the month was a House of Harlow maxi dress that I just listed probably less than a week ago. Sold for $60 on Poshmark, and this was the only one of my top 10 sales that was on Poshmark, and it was a really great sale because it sold for $60, and as you can see I only paid $4 for it, and with fees and everything else I ended up making a profit of $44, so that is fantastic. And I actually have another one of these that is not listed yet, so I have, of course, high hopes for that one also. Next up is proof that it doesn't have to have a brand on it to sell pretty well. This is a pure lamb's wool made in Scotland, I believe, men's sweater. It did not have a brand name on it, but it still ended up selling for $48. I only paid, I think, 45 cents for it at the bins, and giving me a profit then with all the fees and shipping taken out of $34. So another good pickup. Here's one of the bread and butter brands that I do love to sell, J. Jill. This Wherever collection, which is a good one to find. The dress sold for $52, taking out the fees and the shipping, which was kind of high. I ended up with a profit of $33. Then we have another House of Harlow maxi dress, and again, one of those knits that I picked up at TJ Maxx. This one sold for $49, and taking out the fees and the shipping, I ended up with a profit of $31. So I do still have a few of those, and I would pick those up again. Next we have a vintage pair of Candies heels. I have sold Candies vintage heels before. The last ones I think had a wood sole, and they sold for I think between $75 and $99. So I was hopeful with these. They had a plastic wood looking sole, and so they only sold for $43, but taking out the fees and the shipping, I ended up making $28 on those. And since I only paid $2 for them to begin with, I am perfectly happy with that amount. This is a great brand to find. It has a very high retail. It is Zadig and Voltaire. I was expecting to get more for this item, ended up getting $49 for it, but I only paid 43 cents for it, giving me, with the fees taken out, a profit of $27.57. Next up, this is a Polo Ralph Lauren men's jacket. I've had this one for a while, ended up selling for $49 on eBay, but taking out the shipping and the fees, ended up making $26 for it, and I paid $1.50. I think I got this at the bins in Stockton. These vintage pants from Woolrich have been sitting in my death pile for a while. I just had set them aside because I don't think they had the sizing on them, so I think I had to measure them. I paid $2.99 for them, and they sold for $45. And taking out the shipping was kind of high. I think it was over $8. I ended up making $25.99 on them. This was another retail arbitrage piece that I picked up at Ross. I think I paid $10 for it, and it ended up selling for $48, but because I did pay $10, I only made $23.63, but that's okay. I would pick it up again. And lastly, I have this pair of Merrill boots. They sold for $48, but because, I don't know, the shipping was extremely high, I don't remember why. My take home after shipping and cost of goods was $22.68. So that's it for my top 10 of December. So the rest of this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 style aesthetics that are predicted for 2025. This just helps us to kind of get an idea of just different things to look for when we're out shopping, because sometimes you might want to pick things up for style rather than for brands, and so this might help you out. So the first one I came across was just basically a color. The color is deep cherry. I don't really know what the difference is between deep cherry and I think what was hot last year was called oxblood, or like a Bordeaux or wine. Maybe this is a little pinker, not really sure, but so dark cherry is the aesthetic. You can find it in all kinds of things: shoes, accessories, nail colors, just this deep, really warm red, which actually I love this color. It looks great to me. Next up is the Rococo Revival. This would be really the opposite of a minimalist look. It's very opulent, lots of layers and corsets and luxury accessories, very feminine, lots of tulle, corsets, bows, all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, the opposite of a minimalist look. Next, we have Sea Witchery. This is very much like the mermaid look that I talked about last time. So think mythical mermaid look with flowing layers, chiffon, wet wavy hair, shell accessories, and then you can bring in some nautical to it too with a rope belt, and you get it. Next up, we have the castlecore aesthetic, which is just as it sounds. Think medieval, think Renaissance fair, lots of jewel tones and luxury fabrics like tulle and velvet and chainmail looks. I already said jewel tones, but anything regal, medieval looking. Then we have the dolled up aesthetic, and this is a different look, and I was having a hard time finding really a definition of it, but it is looking like a doll basically, with pastel colors, kind of cutesy little charms like on the purse that's going to be up next, pastels, and kind of, you know, that Japanese little girl kind of look. Then we have kind of the opposite with the fisherman aesthetic. This is more of a real down-to-earth, rugged look of a nautical fisherman. Everything is a little weathered, practical, rugged. We've got sturdy boots. We've got fisherman sweaters. Everything would look kind of rugged and weathered. So think old-timey New England fisherman for this look is the best that I can describe it. Those little knit hats and lots of sweaters. So from the fisherman, we want to go again to the opposite and go to the goddess aesthetic. So the goddess aesthetic has a lot of gold and flowing dresses, and we think of mythical goddesses, very feminine. Think of flowing hair like this one with intricate hair designs, and think Aphrodite and Grecian goddesses, things like that. And then next up, again, another opposite is the Terra Futura. So this one was a hard one for me to really describe what this look is, but it from what I've seen, it says it blends sustainability with a futuristic sci-fi vibe. So think nature and technology existing together. Another name is solar punk. So, your guess is as good as mine, but it looks very utilitarian, very futuristic, but also lots of greens and recycled fashion. So that is that one. And then lastly, we have Moto Boho, which boho seems to be always present, but a little bit evolving. So now we've got boho with a little bit of an edgier vibe. So we've got like the moto boots, we've got leather jackets with lots of studs and buckles and zippers, but then you wear that with a flowy dress or skirt. Lots of earth tones and still the flowy kind of hippie hair, but with a little bit of a darker edge. So those are my top 10 that I have found doing a little bit of research on the internet. I'm sure there are tons of others out there, but that is just my take on what's coming up in 2025. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.